Good. First off, obviously a little conference expansion news. Well, I'd like to welcome Oregon and Washington to the conference. Excited. I think anything that continues to build our brand across the country is a positive thing. Obviously the addition in 2024 is going to change the schedule a little bit. I have no idea what that means or anything about it. I'm just concentrating on our guys. I know a lot of guys are out of practice, so in the last 4 or 5 days since we talked, Barlev had a little bit of a mild ankle sprain. He actually have a chance to practice with us tomorrow. Very, very, very mild. And also somebody else.
Jordan Anderson.
Jordan Anderson, yeah, same thing. Just got a little flare up with his back. He actually, good chance he's going to practice tomorrow. We'll have a scrimmage on Friday. I think we'll have both those guys back for then. Also got good news on Matt Bailey. He passed a screening, so he should be able to start doing some more movement with us this week, and hopefully in a 2-week window or somewhere close to when we start school, be with us. So a lot of positives. Have just finished practice number 4. Really excited the way our guys practiced last week under the lights. We were going to go out on the grass field today, but Mother Nature threw some rain at us, so it was good to get some wet turf work out there today. A really, really good day. Moved out into the field. We did red area last week, went into the field this week, today, and excited about that. And really for the 4 practices that we've had down, I know everybody hates 4 practices. What you do with them is what you do with them, and our guys have really attacked these 4 days. I thought Saturday night under the lights, we did a lot of red area, a lot of competition, and our guys are definitely enjoying the game. This is a really fun group to be around as a head coach. Literally to come to practice every day, do what we do. It's truly an enjoyable time to be in the building. So really excited about where we're at, where we can go. With that, I'll open up questions.
Coach, I know it's a year from now, but the expansion part of this piece, you're such a detailing guy. Are you worried about getting there and figuring out who's who and what's what and all that stuff? Or is it,
I get it, but I mean, one of the things I've always said as a coach, right? Those are conversations beyond me, right? I just, we'll get the schedule, figured out, we'll play. Mark and I had some conversations, my chief of staff, just, we're traveling to unknown cities, right? Whatever it is, so there's some logistics, but most of those places house other teams, right? And so that's probably a less issue now than it's ever been. I got tremendous faith in Josh and our administration. Obviously, Chancellor Jones was a big part of the decision, so they're excited. I'm excited, and when it gets to 2024, I'll be excited as well. But I'm really focusing on practice 5.
Where do you think we're all heading with this?
I don't know. I really don't. I just think about. I remember being a young buck, getting in this profession. They added Penn State in the league, right? And they were at the top of the top at that point, right? And how much that did for our league now in retrospect, And then I think about when they added in Rutgers and Maryland, and just the addition of them and what it's been able to do on the East Coast. I've noticed it in recruiting. So when they announced USC, UCLA, it was equally thought this would move in the other direction. It could do. I literally start thinking. Pat and I, Hamilton and I, have had conversations about how that affects us in recruiting. We have such a large living alumni base out in LA that has to factor into it. And now with the Northwest corner, ironically, Pat Pearson, one of our staffers, one of my best friends, got married out in Oregon this past weekend. I loved being out there, seeing it. Now we're going to be right up the road in Eugene. So a lot of really cool things about it. I think in today's recruiting, you sell that to kids big time. I have in my office every conference stadium we play in, and now to have coast to coast, got to get a new graphic, but it's a good thing to have.
the conference has almost doubled since you played there.
Yeah.
I mean, this really added 8 teams when you were 10-team league. Penn State wasn't quite in.
Well, I think it's just a part of the world we're in, right? I mean, because of those little things you guys are recording me with, and because of technology, it's just kids, it doesn't faze them, I don't think, much anymore, right? And I know our kids are excited. We briefly talked about it last night on Sunday. I like to take a look at college football, and I think they're excited about it. I think that anything that brings a new opportunity to be somewhere they've never been, I think it gets those kids excited.
When you finally get into shells like you have, Brett, is the depth that you built on both lines just starting to pop?
Really depth overall. I appreciate the question, but sure, O-line to E-line. I mean, we just look a little. I think you guys out there at practice, we're long. We're athletic. I don't know what we're going to play like, but we sure look good. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have benefited from Tank's room, and there was a point this summer when we got done with practice, and I'm just looking at our guys, and I literally said, hey, first team, 11 personnel on offense, get out in front, which is obviously our O-line, a tight end, 3 wideouts, our quarterback, and a running back, and I said, just look at these guys, right? And then I said, first team base defense, so our defense got out there. Most of them had just got done running, they had their shirts off, and I mean, we look good. We perform at a high level. They play with great intensity. I think with our length, I don't think we've gotten slower. Kids like football. They one of the things that jumped out to me. Jimmy was here for a couple of days, and I asked him on the first couple of days, just kind of observe. You're seeing us for the first time. You've never really seen us work out, and he just commented about some of the things that I just mentioned. The length where we are, the way we practice, the buy-in of our kids. I think when I get coaches that are really good coaches from outside coming in for the first time, I really want to hear what they see, and that's really. There's another visitor out here today who's been around a lot of football that said the same thing: the energy, the excitement, the intensity, the way our guys play.
On the right side of the line there, it seems like there's a robust competition.
Yeah, great question.
Can you share with us who the candidates are?
I think, as you look at it, over there, Isaiah and Julian have played so well together. Josh, I think, has kind of established who he is at center. At right guard, right tackle, Jordan Slaughter obviously came in, was probably the best sixth man in football for us, and for a lot of teams would love to have a guy like that. He's obviously in the mix. Right tackle, we put Zai out there who played right guard, but Zai, very athletic, played tackle when he was at JUCO. We knew he could do it, just kind of in our lineup. We put him in at guard last year. A guy that's probably grown as much in this program the last 2 years, Josh Geske, is just an incredibly focused, determined, works his tail off. Just really, really love the growth that he's had. Brendan Henderson, an incoming freshman, is probably offensive line-wise one of those guys that when I was first around him started to work out. I loved him in recruiting, obviously, but when we got him here on campus, literally one day last spring, he played 4 of the 5 offensive positions in one practice. So extremely versatile, extreme high view, football IQ. I would say that core of guys, and there's also some other guys that could be. Hunter Whiteneck is in the mix over there. So we're trying to find our best combination.
How have you seen Matt Bailey attack these 6 months, and what have you guys done to make sure he keeps trending in that growth direction?
Yeah, he's done everything. Matt's a very conscientious. Everything Matt does is very purposeful. His mom's raised him in an environment that, I think everything he does every day when he wakes up has a purpose and a plan. So I knew we had to be diligent to give him the plan, right? Because sometimes he got a little ahead of schedule on his own terms, and he had a little bit of setback here midsummer, but he handled it, persevered for it. I try to grab him at least once or twice a day, have personal interaction. He's intent over on the sidelines. I'm constantly yelling at him to back up because he's trying to creep further out on the field. He's been really good with our young safeties. So again, the professional side of him, it's always concerned when players miss time, but with him, it probably lessens my concern a little bit.
It's Houston Griffin, head of your recruiting staff.
Yeah, Houston's been awesome, right? So honestly, so when I first got here, Houston had to enter the portal, and I obviously knew his dad, and he entered the portal from Notre Dame. So I reached out to him, but I also reached out to people in that Notre Dame staff, who's now the staff that's at LSU. And when I talked to people, the one thing they said, hey, you judge what you want on football, but as a person, he's everything that you want in your program, da-da-da-da. And I knew his parents. So even though we couldn't get him, right, he went back to Notre Dame, kind of just filed away in my head, when he's done playing, I'd like to get him in the building. So him and his dad came in the spring. I just kind of, hey, what's your thoughts? I didn't want to, I didn't know if he's going to try the NFL. He expressed he wanted to get into coaching. So I knew I had a personnel spot open and brought him into the fold, and he's just been very impressive. Again, a guy that walks with a lot of confidence. You just see the way that he carries himself. Pat's been very excited about what he's brought into that room. But it's an entry-level deal that he's just kind of being him and showing on the personnel side, but also in our building, he's been around really good coaches. He's been around Brian Kelly. He's been around coaches in his career there at LSU that we're excited to get him into the building.
What schematically, specifically, has Robbie brought to you guys special teams? What have you seen you liked about that?
Well, Robbie, when I hired him, one of the things that's really cool about his career is that everywhere he's been, he's kind of been self-promoted from within. I love that on a coaching resume. People just keep promoting him. And then at Tulane last year, their head coach, he's known as kind of a special teams guru. And I believe last year when Dish ran special teams at Tulane, that was the first time coach had ever let somebody else run special teams. So I told him coming in, hey, we have some schemes that we've run, some things I feel strong about, but let's work together on building an Illinois philosophy. And he's really kind of taken over everything. His diligence, his teaching. We started off this morning with a KOR meeting that he had the whole place in stitches, and 1 minute later they were locked in on how to take on or how to perform a double team. Right? He's got the unique ability to transcend into all position groups. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. He's got a great relationship with him. He's very intentional. He's a good dad. He brings a lot. Schematically, there's going to be some carryover from what he's done, but also carryover from what we've done.
Are you any closer or further away on getting Desmond cleared at all? Or
Desmond Schuster? Yeah, no, it's a medical thing.
Are you?
Yeah.
So it's just
No. There was a chance it could be quicker, but I think now it's trending to later. We're literally still waiting on some results, but we'll just keep them up to date as best we can.
Demetrius Hill, one of those guys
Yeah.
that kind of just jumps out at you. Length and quick twitch. What are you seeing from
Yeah,
him?
Demetrius and really Clayton Bush, both guys that we brought in out of the portal world at the safety position. And I, honestly, Prince Ford at corner has looked good. So our 3 transfers at DBs, and you go back to the spring, Nicario Harper, those 4 guys are in our mix. They're in the 2 deep and extremely athletic. Demetrius is he's very aggressive. He's high football IQ, really locked in. He's kind of a guy that's jumped out here through the first 4 days. I would say Clayton Bush athletically, he's very, very gifted as well, and he takes to the game very quickly, like where he's at. I think our transfer world in general, you look at Tanner Arkin on offense, like he's definitely made a big jump from where he was. Alex Captain-Jones just came in. He's literally been here less than a month and made 4 or 5 huge catches here in the last 2 or 3 days. So that portal world's continued to treat us pretty good. We don't go into it a lot, but when we go in, it's very intentional, and it's been good.
You've been around some good tight ends. What do you think Tip can do?
Yeah, Tip,
this year?
I just think from a 220-pound kid when we got here to a 265-pound man that he is, I met with NFL scouts today, you just don't see guys like that all that much. The NFL's craving for those big, physical, inline tight ends. I think he'd be the first to tell you he's not there yet, but he works every day. He's very, I think, focused. He has 2 years, but this may be the last, and so we're trying to treat it that way. But his inline blocking, his movement, obviously I think he's going to continue to step forward in the catch department, but really excited what I've seen through 4 days.
Just one more about
Yeah.
Matt Bailey. It seems like he would have the versatility for either of those 2 safety spots back there. How much does that help you as you guys navigate trying to find the spot?
In our system, our defense is a little bit multiple, but it's a very easy system. One of the things that I established when we got here is we had, obviously back then, Ryan was coming in from Missouri, had guys from my past. We had guys coming in from outside voices. Aaron had been a couple places. Kevin Kane had coordinated defenses. So we came together and made the Illinois defensive philosophy. And one of our things that we said defensively is we knew we were going to have a lot of young players come in and quickly. Now, when young doesn't necessarily mean freshmen. What I mean that is there's new players to the room through the transfer portal, through high school, through JUCO. We wanted them to be able to play quickly, so we had to keep it simplistic. So there is a little bit of, the safeties are interchangeable, but if you look at last year, what Sid did versus what Smith did, those are 2 different positions. At times they interchange, but I see Matt more in that Sid role, right? But he does have the ability to do a lot of different things and he's got high football IQ.
It's hard not to notice Malik Elzy
Yeah.
out there. So we know what he can do as an athlete. What's the learning curve like for him?
Yeah, Malik has been very impressive. Even really going back to the summer when he got here, everybody just talks about his presence, his physical awareness. He's a guy that's very driven. I texted him, I think it was 9:30 last night, and I've been making an edit. I said, hey, I want to get together with you this week just to kind of talk about where you're at. He just consumes everything. Very impressive athlete. I was the very first day of practice, I was on the far end, and I saw 2 catching kicks. And I thought we had switched Caden Fagan from 3 to 2. I'm like, is that Caden? And I got up close and it was Malik. You just forget how big he is. I swear every time I see him, he looks like he grows an inch. But really good high football IQ. His obstacles are going to be self-created, right? He wants to just do so much so fast. You got to learn that, hey, we're in practice 4, right? And you're not, at an All-American status yet, but you definitely have the ingredients to get there.
Coach, have you ever coached Washington or Oregon? You ever been there for a game?
As a head coach, we played Oregon State.
You did? Okay.
Yep.
But not
As an assistant, I played at Oregon. Played Washington in some bowl games, but I don't think I've.
great atmosphere, like the rest of the Big Ten, right?
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I know, my brief NFL career for 6 days with the Seahawks, got a chance to look out there and see what it was like. But I think anything that brings the venue and the pride of what this conference is, it's just a positive thing.
We were talking to Seth
Finish up with this one.
Yeah.
last week. He was talking about Lane and
With Seth?
Yeah, he was saying Lane's superpower is his length, but for the superpower thing from those outside linebacker before, is that a Charlie Bolin addition?
I don't know. I've never heard superpower. I know Seth looks really good. We did some before and afters, and Seth came in his program at 200 pounds. We got here, he's 232. He's a 250-pound man now. We did this freak award thing, and I nominated him just because he just looks. Him and Gabe Ackus, and then I tell you, Alec Bryant, it probably just had 2 back-to-back days. of the best days of practice in our building. So really excited about that room and all in general. And then to get Zeke back out there running around. And then we have a freshman named Mason Moragan who has kind of made some waves here the last 2 or 3 days. So that room has really been jumping out.